We often find ourselves at our most vulnerable, sharing intimate thoughts and feelings with those we trust, only to discover that they've vanished without a word, leaving us with a crushing sense of rejection and confusion. What lies beneath this pattern of sudden disappearances is a complex and insidious dynamic rooted in a fundamental human need for control and a desperate desire to avoid emotional intimacy. I've seen this play out time and time again in my own relationships, watching as the people I thought I could trust turn into ghosts the moment I exposed my true self to them. In this video, we'll delve into the dark psychology of attachment, insecurity, and manipulation that drives this behavior, revealing the hidden patterns and strategies that people use to avoid vulnerability and maintain control in their relationships. When someone abruptly vanishes from our lives, it often stems from a silent scream of their own making, fueled by deep-seated insecurities and attachment issues that can make their relationships feel suffocating. The instant they sense you're vulnerable is precisely the moment when they'll often make their move, a calculated play to assert control, to regain the upper hand, and to manipulate your emotions into submission. Their disappearance can be a twisted act of self-preservation, a desperate attempt to flee from the overwhelming fear of intimacy, of genuine connection, of being truly seen and understood. In reality, their vanishing act is often a cry for attention, a pathetic attempt to reinvigorate the embers of their own fading ego, to momentarily regain the validation they so desperately crave. What they can't acknowledge is the crushing blow their actions deal to our sense of trust and self-worth, which slowly unravels the very fabric of our relationship and our own mental well-being. At its core, their decision to abandon us is a stark reminder that people often disappear not because we're not worthy of love and connection, but because they are unwilling to do the difficult work of confronting their own insecurities, of letting go of their need for control, and of embracing authenticity. We often miss the warning signs when someone starts to extract emotional labor from us, but it's precisely in those moments when we're at our most vulnerable that they begin to subtly disengage. It's a classic pattern of psychological manipulation, where individuals exploit our insecurities to get the emotional validation they crave, only to vanish once they've achieved that validation. In a dance of push-pull, we chase those who are afraid to commit, hoping to finally break down their defenses and be accepted, but this only fuels their desire for control through emotional absence. Sometimes, people aren't disappearing from our lives because they're flawed or broken, they're just addicted to the thrill of attraction and the drama it brings, and they'll leave us high and dry when the excitement wears off. The most insidious form of manipulation comes not from those who intentionally set out to harm us, but from those who are themselves deeply insecure and struggling to find their own purpose. They'll latch onto us as a means of validation, only to discard us when it no longer serves them. We often tell ourselves we're just being paranoid or overly sensitive, but the truth is, our intuition is usually trying to tell us that we're being slowly drained of our energy and our sense of self-worth by someone who has no intention of truly showing up for us. When people suddenly disappear from your life, it's often a reflection of their own unresolved insecurities and a desperate attempt to preserve their own ego. The moment someone makes you feel vulnerable, they are not actually taking advantage of your weakness. They are trying to assert control over you, to reclaim power in a relationship that started to slip through their fingers. You see, the most manipulative individuals are often the ones who are hiding from their own insecurities the most, and they use their ability to evoke fear in others as a means to deflect their own vulnerability. It's an age-old tactic of playing on someone's fears, making them feel like they are not worthy of love or validation, only to swoop in and offer it on their own terms, because they know that's the only way to truly manipulate someone into staying hooked on their toxic attention. People are often drawn to those who are emotionally unavailable, because in some twisted way, it makes them feel like their worth is tied to the other person's desire, and it's a constant reminder that they are needed, that they are still valuable in some capacity. But here's the thing: when someone leaves, it's often a reflection of your own self-deception, the idea that you're worth the investment of another person's time and energy, when in reality, you're only valuable as long as you're serving a specific purpose in their twisted game of control. When we're most vulnerable, those who prey on our insecurities often hide behind a veil of pseudo-empathy, making themselves out to be the only ones who truly understand us. The web of control is expertly manipulated, making it difficult to discern genuine love from a calculated game of emotional dependence. We're drawn to the very individuals who are most adept at eroding our self-worth, because on some level, we're desperate for validation and the feeling of being seen. But what appears to be an act of affection is often just an exercise in emotional hijacking, where the other person's need for control supersedes any genuine concern for our well-being. In their pursuit of validation and a sense of security, we may find ourselves compromising our values, our autonomy, and even our own sense of identity, simply to satisfy the craving for emotional connection and acceptance. The more we invest in these toxic relationships, the more we're forced to confront the harsh reality that the person pulling the strings has no intention of truly letting us go, for they've become addicted to the feeling of power and control that comes with being the gatekeeper of our emotions. When we're most vulnerable, it's usually because people can smell the desperation, the cry for validation, the underlying insecurity that our carefully constructed masks can no longer conceal. What they don't see, and what they can't see, is that our most authentic self is not the self we present to the world. It's the one we keep hidden, the one that's driven by our deep-seated need for control and our inability to accept uncertainty. In those moments of intense vulnerability, our attachment issues can surface in the most insidious ways, driving us to pursue people who are ultimately going to hurt us, people who will feed into our addiction to pain, to drama, and to the validation we crave. But beneath the surface of all this masochistic behavior lies a more sinister force. A shadow self that's driven by an insatiable desire for power and a willingness to do whatever it takes to eliminate all sense of responsibility for our own happiness. When we're being drawn to someone who's clearly bad for us, we're often not seeing the danger signs, we're seeing the excitement, the thrill, the fear that comes with being on the brink of something, and that fear is a natural response to the unknown. But it's also a response to our deep-seated fear of emptiness, of being alone, and of not being loved. So we compromise, we sacrifice our own needs and our own values, and we do it all because of a primal urge to feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel understood. But what we end up feeling is the crushing weight of our own self-deception. As we've explored the darker aspects of attachment, insecurity, and manipulation in relationships, remember that recognizing these patterns is the first step towards reclaiming your power. I want to thank each of you for joining me on this journey into the depths of human psychology. Your engagement and observations mean everything to me. If you found value in today's video, be sure to like, share your own insights in the comments, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of the human experience.